Welcome back to Writing Done Right. Well, today we want to do a few little writing tips, and we're going to talk about editing, the types of edits, and what editing I do before I send it off to another editor who can look at the things that I can't quite catch, because you should never completely be the sole person to edit your own work. All right, so welcome to Writing Done Right. I'm Tom Morosky. I am an author and a technology consultant, and I'm here to bring you various tips and tutorials on how to actually produce your books, but also some tips about how to write your books. And editing is a big part of writing. Now, there's different types of editing. You can talk about hiring an editor, but you need to know what you're hiring and why. So what I like to look at is storyboard edits. Now, anytime we're talking about editing a manuscript, I'm always going to go through it myself a few times. Don't worry if you don't catch every instance of there versus there, or it's with an apostrophe, it's without an apostrophe. Nobody can be expected to pick up everything on your own because of the way that you write and your writing style. This is why you need an external person to spot some of those things, because we all kind of write a little bit differently. This is also why I like doing advanced reader things before sending it out to a lot of editors, because by the time I get my comments back and their comments back, I've usually picked up a lot of the little tiny grammatical issues that, yeah, we all know. Sometimes they just come out on the keyboard. You know, you're typing so fast, you have no idea the thing even came out that way. But anyway, so what types of edits do we have? The first thing we want to do is the types. There are grammatical errors, basic sentence structure type things. Those are actually the last things you want to edit. The first thing you actually want to edit is your storyboard. Now, what this means is somebody reading through the story and understanding, is there any plot holes to be fixed up? How's the character development look? Basically, all of the things that go into not the grammar, the style, how it's written, but actually the story you're trying to tell. So this is what we call a storyboard editor. So again, it breaks down into your character development, your plot holes, maybe your villain plots. These are things that I had to consider in looking at. And as I'm working on the science fiction book that I have more information coming out about very shortly here, I asking some basic people, and I said, hey, what do you think about doing some cutscenes with villains? They're like, you absolutely have to. It wasn't actually my original plan, and I realized it probably kind of sucks without those. So we went ahead and added those types of things back in. Now, that was before I gave it to the beta readers. Then I give it out to the beta readers, and they're giving me some pretty good advice to look back, and I'm going to have to go back and maybe rewrite just a few portions of the story. I'm going to need to look for places where I can exchange a little bit of dialogue with some description, or maybe do a little bit more showing people things instead of telling people. So this, for me, I went through myself and did a fast read through the book doing a quick storyboard edit, which I'm going to do that again after I get the feedback from all of the beta readers, and then we're going to come in and do some grammatical edits, and then I'm going to send it out. So what should your grammatical edits look like? Well, just like it sounds. You might also call this a line editor. What you're going to look for here is all those cases of theirs and its and things like this that are the common mistakes. Also, though, you might be looking for various things like passive voice versus active voice. In general, you want active voice under most cases. So a good editor is going to be able to spot not just your storyboard stuff, but usually you have to hire a separate editor for the storyboarding versus the line editing. Be aware of that. And so with your line editing, you want to make sure that the book is not 100 bajillion% perfect. Some people spend way too long trying to get their book perfect that it never makes it to the market. If your errors are only going to irritate the upper 1% of high school or college level English teachers, don't worry about it. Perfectly candid, don't worry about it. You don't, though, want to bring a book that's a garbage mess, hard to read because it's so full of crazy grammatical errors either. So we need to find striking a good balance, erroring more on the side of correct grammar, but not total grammar Nazi. And so that's definitely what you want to do. So now part 2 of this, how do I accomplish this? Well, first, I always like to write that first draft quickly. I'm never going to go back through and do a massive amounts of edits. But if I have extra time, I will read the previous part as I'm writing the next part so that I can re-get a little bit of momentum where I'm going, push on into it, but I will do a few little edits there. So the first thing I'm going to do is just a brief overview as I'm doing the edits through. I'm going to finish my full draft, and then I'm going to print the whole thing out on paper. I know we're killing trees, but there's a reason I do it on paper. You focus better if you're doing it on paper versus if you're doing it on a computer screen. So I print out the paper, I shut off all the computers, I go in with multicolored pens, and I'm going to make notes, what needs to be changed, what needs to be moved, what needs to be grammatically fixed, all these types of things. Now, this is going to be a really quick read through because it's actually the first read through is going to be a storyboard edit. You want your storyboard edits read fast because you don't want to get to the end of the book that you've started a month ago and you've forgotten what's in the beginning. You want to read, if we're talking about a 50,000 word science fiction novel, you want to read that entire thing inside of 1 week. You don't read it inside of 1 week, you may very well forget a lot of what's in there and you will be prone to miss some of the storyboard holes. And so you want to get in there and start with focusing on a very fast read through, primarily looking for the storyboard plots, fixing up any grammatical stuff you spot along the way. And then you're going to integrate all of those edits in, and then you're going to print it out again and do another slower edit this time. The slower edit can be done on the computer if you are concerned about paper waste, but just keep in mind, you are going to want to do another line edit that's a little bit slower. I usually spend about 2 weeks on this, just about twice as much time, because I also don't want to forget about a book or lose motivation from doing line edits, but I do want to do that first amount of line editing, and I'm going to do it and get as much of that out. Now, if you're really careful or you really know which errors you're prone to, you can actually do a search through your whole document for all instances of there, THEIR, and make sure that those are all the correct instances. And then likewise, THERE, examine all those sentences, see if those are all the correct instances. So you can fix a lot of these things with the tools that we have. Now, some of your grammar checkers, including the Pro Writing Aid that I use as an affiliate link here on the channel, there will be a link in the description there and on the website at WritingDoneRight.net. You can actually get in there and that will actually highlight those instances as you're going through to ask, is this the one you meant? Now, be careful because a lot of these grammar editing tools will say, hey, this is a commonly missed word. If you just go in there and click change it, you might have very well broken your manuscript. So you can't just go in, highlight, click, change just because it brings up some potential issue. You have to stop and examine that potential issue. It's just identifying a word that is often misused. You want to go in there and make sure that the word is the correct context and then go ahead and alert the program that to ignore because this is the correct instance. That's all it's doing. Now, the next thing I'm going to do after I do my line edits and after I do my storyboard edits is I'm going to release it out to a beta reader program. I'm probably going to pick about 25 or 30 people. I'll send out a blast on my email list. You can sign up to that on the website at WritingDoneRight.net. You can sign up to my email list. And if we have a beta reader program, I'll blast that out if you want to join it. I usually pick 25 or 30 people. Anything more than that, oh boy, it's just too difficult to get stuff in. Anything less than that, and I'm not going to get enough comments back because invariably about half the people are going to drop out and I'm going to be left with about 15 or so, 10 or 15 really good feedback lines. The beta readers are going to fix several of the grammatical things that I missed, and the beta readers are also going to spot any storyboard holes. If everybody comes back and says, wow, that was really good, hey, it's good. It's probably ready to go. But you're always going to find something. And then you also have to, when your beta reader stuff comes in, you have to consider what they say. Sometimes you don't want to consider what they say, but you want to consider it. I shouldn't say you shouldn't consider it. I should say you always should consider it, but you always weigh it, and it's your final choice as your manuscript. So I just had a beta reader comment coming back saying, hey, we need this wow moment later on, and I don't agree with it because the purpose of the section of the book is not to have to build up to a wow moment, it's to build up to a character development. And changing that wow moment would hurt the character development. So I looked at that, I really considered it, and I thought it's about what is the purpose of this part, and I decided I need to keep it exactly how I had it in that little instance. So you're gonna find those ideas. Now, once you have the storyboards in, you have the grammatical stuff in, you've made any adjustments, then you're gonna send it out to the editor and then consider what they have to say. And at that point in time, when my editor gets it back to me, I move on with the book production process and get the book out to print not too long after I get the editing back. So there's a little bit of insight about my editing strategies. Let me know your editing strategies in the comments down below. Don't forget you can subscribe to the channel, select that notification bell to be updated when we publish videos. You can also, though, sign on the social media posts. Right now I have Twitter. You can follow me over on Twitter, and I have a Mastodon. Both of those are linked in the description. So I hope that this video will help you to get your writing done right.